The airport terminal was a chaotic roar of engines and shouting travelers. Amidst the sea of people, Tommy marched toward the check-in desk, looking utterly ridiculous. He was dragging 10 heavy suitcases, sweat dripping from under a bright, neon holiday hat. To anyone listening, he made his mission clear, shouting to the crowd that Jerry was definitely not invited on this trip. He wanted the world to know he was the solo star of this vacation, but as he spun around with a triumphant flourish, his jaw hit the floor. There was Jerry, leaning casually against the counter, already holding a first-class ticket. Jerry didn't even look stressed. He just smirked and held up a second ticket, claiming he had already upgraded them both to business class. Tommy stood frozen, his mouth hanging open in silent defeat. At the security checkpoint, the struggle reached a new level of absurdity. Tommy heaved his massive bags onto the conveyor belt, grunting with every movement. As he stepped through the scanner, a piercing siren shrieked through the hall. Suddenly, a large bulldog in a crisp security uniform stomped over, looking unimpressed. Panic seized Tommy as he began dumping his pockets in a frenzy. Out came a shower of colorful confetti, a heavy block of aged cheese, and a bright yellow rubber duck. The guard stared at the duck with deep suspicion. Before Tommy could utter a single word of explanation, his jacket snagged on the moving belt. With a sudden metallic clunk, the machine yanked him forward. He vanished into the dark tunnel of the scanner, only to emerge on the other side, somehow stuffed inside a suitcase like a piece of lost luggage. Scrambling out of the luggage, Tommy didn't waste a second. He sprinted toward his departure gate, lungs burning. In his blind rush, he failed to notice Jerry calmly swapping the gate signs behind his back. With a desperate leap, Tommy boarded the plane just as the heavy doors sealed shut with a final hiss. He slumped into his seat, breathing a sigh of relief, until he looked around. Instead of tourists in swimsuits, rows of silent, blinking penguins stared back at him. The plane didn't head for the sun. It banked sharply, pinning Tommy against the freezing cold window. As the sky turned gray, he realized they were heading toward the icy wastes of Antarctica instead of the beaches of Mallorca. He spent hours shivering, watching the endless white horizon, wondering how his dream vacation had turned into a polar expedition. Hours later, back at the main terminal, Tommy was a broken man. He stood by the baggage carousel, waiting for his gear. As his bag circled past, he reached out to grab it, but the strap snagged his tail with a sudden jerk. The belt dragged him off his feet and onto the moving track, sending him spinning in circles like a piece of forgotten cargo. Every time he passed the arrival hall, he saw Jerry. Jerry was leaning comfortably against a pillar, munching on a bag of crisps. Jerry chuckled, calling out, "Impressive spinning technique, Tommy. You really have a flair for the dramatic." Then, Jerry took it a step further. He stepped toward the information desk and grabbed the PA microphone. His voice boomed across the entire terminal. "Attention passengers, would the gentleman currently riding the luggage belt please step off for his own safety?" Every eye in the airport turned to stare. Tommy, still spinning helplessly, could only give a weak, mortified wave to the judging crowd. Finally, they reached the departure gate, both looking exhausted, though for very different reasons. Tommy slumped into a plastic seat and declared he was finished with flying forever. Right on cue, a loud chime echoed through the terminal. The flight was delayed by 4 more hours. Tommy's left eye began to twitch uncontrollably as his sanity slipped away. Jerry simply pulled a tiny cheese sandwich from his pocket and offered it with a mocking grin. The scoreboard was clear. Tommy 0, Jerry 21.